happened. Lots has changed with me, but I'm still here. But I felt compelled to come and talk to everyone today about my thoughts on Liz Truss and what's happening. So let's cut a long story short. Do I think Liz Truss should be the Prime Minister? No, not by a long shot, not in a million years. I think she's absolutely pants. She is as good as a chocolate teapot, and she ums and ahs so damn much. Liz Truss, you got to go. I reckon she's going to pack it in by the middle of next month at the absolute latest. And I think Sunak's going to be the boy to take over. Personal opinion, I can't say it's going to happen. Obviously, I don't know. I'm just saying I think it's going to happen. Um, that's what's happening with that. Did she throw Quasi Kwarteng under the bus? Yes, she did. She threw him straight clean under the bus at around about 40 mile an hour. What happened with her and with him is she gave him a task, and he done exactly as she asked. He done that task, and then when the shit hit the fan, what happened? It was him. He did this. It wasn't me. No, it was all him. And she literally kicked him and threw him under the bus. So I feel bad for him, and I think he took it rather well. I wouldn't have gone that quietly, in all fairness. But she definitely stitched him up like a right kipper. Poor sod. He literally done his job, what she asked, and you can't do right for doing wrong. And the energy crisis. So we've got this war in Ukraine, or Vladimir Putin, rooting, shooting, tooting Putin's special operation, as he calls it. Adolf Putin is basically trying to take the whole of Ukraine and try to reform the former Soviet Union back to its glory, is what he wants to do. And he's using this special operation as an excuse to try and get things done, claiming that Ukraine is full of Nazis, when what he's actually doing is pretty much Nazi. And he does scare me. He does. Putin does scare me. I've spoke about Putin before in different videos, but when he says I'm going to nuke you if you get in my way, that's what scares me. The only little bit of comfort I get with that is the fact that there is mutually assured destruction, where if he was to launch, like he says, a nuke and it went into, say, the sea, whether it's the Channel or any body of water close to the UK or in between UK and anywhere in Europe, to cause a massive tidal surge, to pretty much flood these countries. What do you know? What it's his own death at the end of the day. The second he launches one, every allied nation in NATO will be firing them straight back at him. It's as simple as that. And then that would be the start of World War III. And to be honest with you, I don't think even Putin wants World War III. But because of that, we have absolutely astronomical gas prices, because we were too reliant on Russia for our gas. Now, there's people saying, oh, we should start fracking, and I've got my own opinions on fracking. I may have made them clear before. My late cousin Mark, he was absolutely against fracking, and I respect his opinion. I've got a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to fracking. But the thing is, when it comes to fracking, it would take at least 10 years to make it any kind of reasonable. And there was only about 5 years worth of gas underneath us anyway. So what do? Do you spend 15 years for nothing? But equally, it could make our own gas prices cheaper. I'm not saying it would. It could make our gas prices cheaper, but at what cost? It would cost way too much money, really, to get done. And there's only a limited resource down there. The only saving grace we may have, and I say may loosely, is if Putin dies of natural causes, or disease, or poisoned, or killed, or whatever, then that's the great reset. But what you got to remember is who would replace him? Who would replace Vladimir Putin? You know, it's a touchy subject because he is a big fan on not telling the truth to his own people. He lies to his own people. I mean, every politician does, every leader does. Come on, we all know this. You know, they all tell lies, but he's basically telling lies to his own people about a whole nation. You know, his reasoning for going into Ukraine, he's glorifying it, and he's there are people in Russia who think it's the best thing ever that they're going into Ukraine for the Ukrainians when they're really not. They're not. And the thing is, you've got Russian soldiers who are poorly equipped and poorly trained going in to die. And there was a lot of loss of life on both sides, realistically. But again, because of this ridiculous war, there is absolutely stupid high gas prices, which is not fair. It's wrong. But again, that's our own that's our own fault for taking the gas. And because of this, the energy prices are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it should be made criminal, in all fairness. I mean, yeah, I understand that there is a high price because of the demand for gas. I get that. But separate the two. Separate gas, separate electric. Why should they both be rolled into one? It is absolutely mind-boggling because in this country, I believe we produce the majority of our own electricity, whether it be by wind power, tidal, or nuclear. Nuclear, that's the one. And I think we should make a bigger push to nuclear power, especially when Rolls-Royce have developed and are producing very, very small modular nuclear reactors. You know, you could have one nuclear reactor put into, say, Banbury, for example, and that would power the whole of Banbury. And it's tiny. It's the size of a grain silo, if you know how tall those are. And the good thing about them being modular is as somewhere expands and gets bigger, you just lump another one next to it. Double the power. And there are people out there who keep saying, oh, but nuclear powers this, nuclear powers that. Nuclear power's clean. Let me get this straight. Nuclear power. Let me turn this back on. Let the yeah, nuclear power is clean. And when it comes to nuclear waste, there are ways of storing it safely. I mean, you put it in containers, and it's not green radioactive goo. You know, it's none of that crap that you see on cartoons and in the sci-fi movies. It's solid material and it's contained very, very well. Um, I believe in lead-lined caskets or barrels. You're not going to get any radioactivity out of it, and it's stored deep, 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 deep underground, and it will be there forever until its radioactivity is null and void. You know, it's relatively safe. I mean, if I'm wrong on that, someone please correct me. I've always said that if I'm wrong on something, please correct me. But gas and electric, when it comes to energy costs, should be made separate. Why should we pay for both as one and be absolutely shafted on the price? It's beyond me. But because of all of this and this energy crisis, we are facing blackouts. So hence the title, Liz Truss and the Blackouts. It sounds like some weird groovy 60s or 70s band, doesn't it? So when they're talking about blackouts, the talk is that there will be a blackout between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, how are we going to deal with that if it actually happens between 4 and 7? Okay, so if it's in the winter, it starts getting dark at 4 o'clock. And this is what I think is what's going to happen. If there are rolling blackouts, right? If there are rolling blackouts between the hours of 4 and 7 in the winter, is it going to affect street lighting? I don't know. It could be a separate circuit on the grid for that. Will it affect street lighting? Who knows? I don't know that. Will it affect people who have medical equipment at home that keep them alive? Those who have disabilities who need specialist equipment to help them function, will it affect that? Will there be some kind of concession for them? Who knows? I don't know that. What I do know is that if there are rolling blackouts and it does switch off absolutely everything, then there's going to be a lot of crime. So police need to be on the lookout for what's going to be happening, because people's burglar alarms, unless they have their own battery pack, burglar alarms are going to be not functioning. You know, if the street lighting's out and it's going to be absolutely pitch black outside, all bar the candles you see flickering. I mean, not being funny, 4 till 7, it's not particularly late, but people still work. Kids are going home from school still in the pitch black. You know, roads, motorways are not going to be lit. It's not going to be very safe. There are, excuse me, in my bad English, there are going to be so many road traffic collisions because people just don't know how to drive. And it pisses me off because people get taught how to pass a test. They don't actually get taught how to drive. It's a big difference. It's if it does happen, it's not a permanent thing. You know, these blackouts, if they happen, it is going to be a temporary measure to try and save some money, according to the government. But like I said, there's going to be a rise in crime between those hours of 4 and 7 if it does happen. Because if people are not in and your burglar alarm isn't working, burglar alarm, if you're Scottish, that's not going to be working. You know, it's if you can't use your gas and you've got no electric between 4 and 7, you know, that's when most people, you know, on an early shift like me today, for example, that's when we're going to be having our dinner. So we're not going to be able to cook anything, you know. So if the power and whatever gets put back on after 7 o'clock, I've then got to, you know, cook my dinner later than I need to be when I need to be in bed. Then I've got to have my shower or bath in the evening so I can get up, get dressed in the morning and go. You know, there are so many different contributing factors which make this an absolute clusterfuck. There are. And the thing is, it's like we're in 2022. How on earth did this government think it was okay over the last 40 years at least to not invest in nuclear power to make it clean and sustainable for everyone in the UK? I mean, look at, I believe France, majority of their power is nuclear. I'm not saying this word correctly, am I? Why are we not there? Why are we not there? You know, I mean, I know there's the big green agenda. I mean, if it really, really came down to it, we have an abundance of coal in this country and we could start firing up. You know, you're using the coal to generate power temporarily while we get this shit sorted out. You know, I know we have to try and be carbon neutral and reach net zero by 2050 or whatever it is. I understand that. But the thing is, you can't make money without spending money. You need to use what we've got in order to, you know, not use what we've got. Do you understand? You know, it's there are ways and means of getting all this done. The thing is, we're such a small nation, and our small contribution to fixing the planet is absolutely bugger all when it comes to the likes of China, India, Australia, the United States, big players in contributing carbon to the atmosphere. You know, and it's like, well, what do we actually contribute realistically? I mean, we are leaders in wind power, pardon me. But what can we actually contribute to reaching net zero? Not a great deal. All we can do is show the world, well, we can do it, so can you. Really? Really? Okay, we're going down that road. Okay, so, you know, England, the high and mighty ones, the ones that used to rule the, they're going carbon neutral. Oh, let's all copy those idiots. Basically what it is. Roy West, going on, mate. What's you all right? Just vote for the Muppets. We go and get one anyway. Yeah, it's true. You know, but here's the thing, right? If Liz Truss goes and Sunak comes in, it's a big if. Would he do a better job? I don't know. I'd like to think so. The problem I've got with all of this is if there is a snap general election, and again, it's a big if there was, our only alternative to conservatism is Labour. And who is in charge of the Labour Party? Keir, I'm so boring, Mr. Hindsight, the idiot, Starmer. I don't trust that bloke at all. He's got a certain smarmy swagger towards himself, and I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. I don't like the bloke. I don't think he's fit for leading anything. I mean, he's good. Oh, well, I would have done this. Well, I would have done that. Good for you, Keir. Good for you. It's a shame you couldn't do things um, years and years ago, you know, when it came to certain subjects and protecting certain young members of society. But I have to keep strump about certain things because I will get myself into trouble. Um, unless I'm completely wrong about that. And if that is the case, then I am wholeheartedly apologetic for that. And the thing is, if it wasn't Keir Starmer, who else would there have been? Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the Labour. Could you imagine if we still had Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the Labour Party? My God, he's the reason why I stopped voting Labour. And I will never vote Labour again, in all fairness, unless something changes. And if we did have Labour in as the next governing party of this country, I guarantee the tax you will pay will be absolutely astronomical, and the amount of borrowing would go up even more, which means you, your children, children's children, and their children, and possibly even theirs, will be paying back that debt over a very, very long time. You see, I mean, I know this government has borrowed a lot of money, but we've had COVID to deal with over the last 3 years, which is still a thing, by the way. So don't let anyone tell you it's not. COVID is still a thing, you know. So we've had the pandemic to deal with. We've had all kinds of bollocks to deal with, you know, and there's been a lot of borrowing. I get that. But if Labour were in power, believe me, it would be 10 times worse. Absolutely. So make no mistake on that. Do I personally think Liz Truss should go, though? Yes. Yes, I do. I don't think she should have got the job. I don't think she's right for the job. Um, and the thing is, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about all of this, right? Is there are people saying they want Boris back. They want Boris Johnson back. Bring back Boris is what people are saying. And that's the thing. It's like, is it really a case of better the devil you know? Is it a case of better the devil you know? Because Boris Johnson was a liar. Okay. He didn't follow the rules, his own rules. He lied and manipulated, and he just carried on going round and round in circles with it. But the thing is when it came to finances, when it came to actually running the country and getting things done, rule breaking, he actually got the job done. He did. Love him or hate him, he got what needed doing done. at the end of the day. So should Boris come back? I'm torn on that one because he didn't just betray you, he betrayed me, he betrayed absolutely everyone. You know, it's like what's good for him would be good for everyone else. We were all told to lock down, follow the rules, and there he was living life of Riley, having parties and doing whatever the hell he wanted. Well, and lying about it. And there are other people being fined for um, meeting in groups of more than three, and there he was lapping it up. So you know that really that sticks in my craw. It really does. Do I think he should come back though? Mm, it's a tough one. It really is. If he did come back, it would have to be as a temporary measure, literally just to get things back into some sort of order before the next election. And then he would have to go, sign a waiver. I'll come in, I'll sort things out, I'll get things done. However, at the next general election, I will step down and make way for someone else to run for leader of the Conservative Party. That to me is just a a no-brainer. It's like you made the majority of this mess. You fix it. Just saying. I am gonna go. Oh, what's this? This is new. I've not been here for so long. Oh, look, I can change this. Look. Um, but yeah, I've been away for so long. There's all kinds of different things that has changed with me. But I'm hoping to start going live on a more regular basis, either on here or on my computer, so you get all the shiny graphics and stuff. Anyway, you've been watching me, Chris, on Real Talk. Have a great day. Happy Wednesday. Love you lots. Goodbye. Mwah!